Hello everyone, I'm Betty and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time you're joining us, I am a conscious channel delivering messages and light language activation codes. So this month I will be doing a 4-part series on higher consciousness. Each week I'll be posting a segment for you to watch, and if you haven't already subscribed, you can hit the button below to make sure that you're receiving notifications for the new videos. And thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really helps the channel, and it also helps people to hear these messages that are meant for them. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so I hope you're all doing well as we are now halfway through the fall passageway. And the beginning, I have to say, it turned out to be pretty intense and raw. These frequencies that came in were not playing around at all, and I heard from many of you that were really having difficult times. It was pretty potent for this, and yes, I say that a lot, but this was really, it just hit. And emotionally speaking, many were feeling at their breaking point as the old and current wounds were just coming up out of nowhere, surfacing, so we could dissolve them and integrate them. But we've all been caught off guard where it just hits you and then you're just spiral down, and it takes a moment. You have to kind of catch yourself and realize what's happening, and kind of bring yourself back to recognize what's going on. So it really threw a lot of people off. And these energies also tend to come in waves. And so if you allow yourself to release them, once you do, it's like that breath of fresh air. The stress and the weight is lifted off of you, and you can take those deep breaths again and feel relaxed. But until you do that, it can be very intense and very stressful. I some people just fighting for no reason because of this intensity. So yeah, this is, and yes, thank you. And they're saying with each event that unfolds, with each passageway, this is going to become stronger. So if you're not prepared and know what to do with these energies, it's going to be very difficult for you. So just something to keep in mind. Yes. And sometimes when these hit, all you really need to do sometimes is have a really good cry. The ugly kind where you're just sobbing and you look and you feel like a wreck. But when it's over with, it's like that violent storm, that was the night before. And then, you wake up in the morning and there's this beautiful sunshine and everything feels fresh and peaceful and at ease. It's kind of that same thing. Okay, and I just heard too, they're just saying that you don't need permission from anybody. You don't need to be strong for everyone else's sake or put up a front. It's okay to pause and have that moment. So while you're having that breakdown, or that intensity of anger, however it plays out for you, it's okay to just stop and take that pause and cry and let it out, because it's going to refresh you and it's going to bring you back into balance. We do have 2 more events coming up this passageway. First is the solar eclipse on October 2nd, and which is followed by the supermoon on the 17th of October. And these events will give us more opportunities to release anything that is not of a higher vibrational match. So as frequencies are going up, anything that's not compatible is going to be brought to the surface. So they're giving me the example of um, old paintings, old oil paintings from like the 16th century. This was a period when the masters reused, modified, or hid secret codes in their paintings. And today we would not necessarily see them with our eyes, but when these old paintings are put under ultraviolet light, it reveals the multiple hidden layers that are beneath the surface. And under that light, you're able to see entirely different paintings or sketchings that had been previously done. And they're saying layers upon layers. And the same goes for us. We too have accumulated layers, and it's not until that light is shined upon them that they are revealed for us to let go of. For the most part, we have kind of lacquered over them and are unaware of their existence because maybe this has happened in the past, or maybe it's something you don't wish to look at. I run across that a lot, that the masters can share information with someone, but they're not ready to actually take a look at the truth of, let's say, a situation. So that's kind of lacquering over that, like I can't deal with it now, but I'm gonna deal with it later. And then what happens is it accumulates and accumulates, and that's when it just kind of explodes. So it simply needs our acknowledgement. Whatever it is that's coming up within you, it just needs your acknowledgement of the shadow of what's lying underneath. And then we are able to release it while integrating and absorbing it, the shadow, into our own light. It's not something to get rid of, it's something that you want to integrate. And the reason for that is both dark and light are born of love, and from love, which most people don't stop to think about. It's the dark has simply forgotten the light. So this holds true of our shadow aspects that have been hiding underneath, and they just need the light to be shined on them. So we would ask you this month to remember, as you walk through these next couple of events, as things arise, to just kind of make a mental note and say, oh, I know what this is, and I know what to do with it. Yes. So there, yes. Okay. Okay, they're bringing up also in September for I just kept seeing the word chaos everywhere. It just kept popping up, signs here and there, and I'm going, okay, there's a theme to this. Why do I keep seeing this word? And there is even a show on Netflix called Chaos, and it's actually pretty good. The actor Jeff Goldblum plays Zeus, and he's really good. And he sees this prophecy for himself coming true, and he starts to become very angry and fearful, and starts destroying anything that he feels is a threat to him. And I saw this as art imitating life. People also are feeling very threatened at this time as they see the illusion of the old program fading. And the majority of people can really feel it in their bones that we're at the end. And whether you call it prophecy, the apocalypse, the rapture, endgame, fade to black, or Armageddon, you would not be wrong. We are at the end, but it's mistaken a lot because we are the end. We are at the end, but it's the end of a grand cycle, not of life. We have graduated from one set of dimensions into the next, and what we are witnessing is the breaking down of old constructs in multiple areas that no longer exist. Those that are unaware of the Great Shift are working off of residual energies and finding it more and more difficult and more stressful, because they aren't aware of the bigger picture of what's going on. Light workers and those that are aware are now able to create with ease within these new frequencies. And some of you might have noticed your creative genius is off the charts, with all these new ideas flowing in. And so it's really great. I know myself, I can't write things down fast enough because it's just almost like an overflow of these ideas and creative energies. In ancient Egyptian culture, we had the god Apophis, and he is the serpent demon of chaos and disorder. Apophis is associated with earthquakes, volcanoes, thunderstorms, and death. And then on the other side, we have the goddess Ma'at, and she is the embodiment of light, truth, and order. And so as this old chaos program has ended, now rises love, peace, compassion, and kindness. So this sounds very familiar because this is played out within every culture around the world. And so this end of this chaos program is our next step in the evolution of consciousness. So whenever that comes into your field, so to speak, the chaotic nature, know that this is just an ending to a cycle, and we continue on. It's not like, and we're all going to be gone. It's just shifting into a higher dimension. And of course, with that, yes, not everybody's going to carry on. Everybody's going to go where they're supposed to go dimensionally, and the older generation, they've done what they needed to do here. They've achieved what they needed to do, and now they get to move on from that. Okay, so we'd like to break down a little bit and clarify, because we talk about higher consciousness all the time, but most people don't really understand what that involves and what it is. So we'd like to break it down a little bit and clarify what exactly is higher consciousness. And it's a huge subject, but we're just going to give, I would say, the cliff notes on it for now. But higher consciousness, as they shared with me, is a conscious journey back on the path back to the creator, God, source, whatever you choose to call the infinite. Consciousness is everything and everything and everywhere. And they're reminding me of that movie, trying to think of the name. Everywhere all at once, something. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It won an award, and it was very fascinating, because that's kind of what consciousness is. We're in all places at all times, everywhere. It's just comes down to a matter of frequency. So if you're tuned into the right bandwidth, you can have a conversation with anything or anyone. You can connect to rocks and trees and animals and objects and people and guides and angels and galactics and masters and source. There are no limitations, because we are all connected and we are all one, and there is no separation. So I know I've been caught talking to trees and people walking by are going, what? We need to send her some help. So, but you are literally able to connect with everything. So within consciousness, there are infinite sets of dimensional boundaries or grids. So you can look at them as a type of container. I call them a grid. You can also look at them, as a hologram. So where the hologram contains the grid, but within each grid holds a specific set of consciousness that shares a common purpose. The higher the consciousness, the more complex. So you may think of a grid like the hologram that is programmed for certain experiences. The closest I think that I've ever seen was the program Star Trek, years ago, where they had the holodeck. So very similar to that, it's programmed for you to have an experience. Consciousness itself contains particles, symbols, keys, mathematical equations, codes, templates, tablets, formulas, sacred geometry, harmonics, and frequencies. Contains a whole lot. It's a type of cosmic soup that makes up everything. These codes, sounds, and light dictate the level of consciousness that we are experiencing. So these codes can be set for from a lower dimension all the way up to infinity. Who knows how many there is? And we can reset and reprogram these grids, and they are part of every planetary and universal evolution. We all go through this in all solar systems, all universes. We all up a level at one point and shift into a higher level of consciousness. Now, there are laws that prohibit higher dimensional beings from interfering with the lower dimensions until they have reached a certain degree of light or frequency. These boundaries are set up for a very good reason. If a planet is not prepared, they could descend and destroy themselves, as we ourselves have also experienced years ago, unfortunately. But humanity, I can happily say, has graduated now to that next octave of 5D and above. And this happened a couple of years ago. But again, most people, if you're not in that state of awareness, you would not know that anything shifted, because we have already reaped all that we can from this simulation grid. And now it's time for the next expansion and new experiences. So in the next segment, we will continue to touch upon how to connect to all there is and what that involves. Okay, all right, we're good with that then. Okay. So this month, the Light Language Activation Codes are going to be for the solar eclipse that is in the beginning of October. Okay, and they're saying this will help with grace and ease also as we go through this next event. All right. Okay, so let us begin. Taku ur ase anea asuiana tuya siniti siturinya ma aku ranea sea urea ishenea yaku arenia nasu ishe etia asu arayane oku uru yasu ipite lahanuta asu ikiti chanta a moneo waya a seate I arena so the gariana pasu chu Haratusui bishiti itiantotea. Nane akuya na aane ua. Sa amane okuraya sa. Te orenta ayaro su ushte. Ariana tosu. Yanania su itiete. Accepting all codes for grace and ease for this next eclipse. Baka asu ishtarenta turintishta anenea. Arama asu ipia she lahanea toria terana. Okuria tasu upaana. Te anuya su akayanane. Ayana nusu inagata baru tusu. Lahoro tusu de onomia si cha viakasu ishte nuniako hayama oku wakare aniasu urahamia anea nanuna ukururu reanata natemiako she biaturia si lehante o usu yikeramia tusu ishta yeneneta and nien yunabia tusu feel mubia pi arana ana korata and nachro tusu akareana su itiatasa o ta se itinchante lahmaha turiana se naria korapa asu urianta. Yarosu, Barioku, Maria Tiaria Tunyane. Breathe, relax. Karosu. We bring you presence, Gea Kuratiasu, within these next events, Kuriatasa. Kiarotusu Yasha. Naria Korena. That you may find peace within the chaos. Garu Aba Arotushta. And know that all is love and all is light. It is one and the same. Akore bi ashuti aneaka. And that you may rest within this space. Okuriata suyana. This container of love. Baka orandaya pa. Soriana tiatuta. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful and blessed month. And I will be back in a week with the next segment on higher consciousness. Sending you so much love. Take care. Bye-bye.